Hello there, welcome back to my channel. It's Antoinette here. I wanted to do a little kind of follow-up to a video that Orshi did, and it is about the Year of the Chariot, which is the Major Arcana card number 7, for those who aren't aware of that. And she did a video with her favourite Chariot cards. Now, I've seen a few of these go out, and I've seen a few people showing cards that I own, so I was trying to be a bit different in how I approach this, but hopefully still with a semi-educational take, or maybe something interesting to bring to the table and show and tell without it becoming too repetitive. So I think I might have, no, I think I may have escaped not duplicating Orshi's decks, but the one that I was going to show, but she definitely showed it, is the Supernatural Chariot, which is the Winchester's car, and I think that was just a genius Chariot card, full stop. So she has shown that one, and it's one of her favourite decks, so I'm not going to go through that. However, to start this off, I thought I'd talk about some of the things the Chariot means to me, and some of the ways in which it can also be depicted. So in front of me I have a selection of runes and oracle cards. The oracle cards are only from 2 decks, because I could have gone into this in much more depth with some of the cards that I own, but I figured these ones had some good words and some great pictures to kind of get your imagination going. So I figured I could stop here. So the Chariot to me is often about, so if we could start here, I guess. So I find it's often about having vision, knowing where you need to go, knowing the direction you want to go in, and pulling in the right direction. So not being scattered, not having that crossroads moment when it comes to the Chariot. You do need to know which way, left or right, what road are you taking, and how, and what do you wish to, receive or achieve the aim of that road at the end of your journey. And that is one of the main parts of the Chariot to me. That is one of its main kind of callings, is that knowing. So I always feel like there's that need for the vision. The Chariot is definitely the journey card. It is about, as I've said, achieving. So forgive me if I repeat my words, because as I go through these cards, I haven't actually planned this out. I've just thrown them on the table and free waffle. Here we go, straight off the top of my head. So yeah, it's definitely direction, moving forwards, forward momentum, forward movement, gaining movement on what you're doing. We have, so often with the journey, we have the new direction. So not allowing the winds to change your whimsy, but the winds to take you where you need to go, and trusting in that direction. So it could bring you through with the night ride, where you could be traveling that journey and trusting in what's happening. And here we have a beautiful card. I think that's a beautiful version. It could easily be a Chariot card, in fact. And I like, it's kind of like this magical guidance, where they're following the, I don't know, I'm seeing them as fairies today, okay? So it could be fireflies, but today I see them as fairies. Whether they're following the fairies, and we've got lots of little stars transposed onto this as well. And with that we have memory and wisdom and knowledge. So there's a lot of things hidden in this Night Ride card that to me also reflect and speak of things that happen with the Chariot card. Now there is a knowing of where you want to go, but there's also the need to be flexible in how you get there. So your path might not be direct, it might meander slightly, but as long as you are on the right path, that's okay, because the meandering will bring you the life lessons that you needed to learn when you got there. Having an idea of the misty lands ahead, you don't have to know the exact location at the end of it always, but you do have to have an idea of what is at that location and why you want it. So it might be a bit misty, you're not quite sure of the full details, but you know how you're going to do it. And equally, the curiosity factor that you perhaps need to know. So if you wanted to change up your life completely, you wanted to have a tower moment with your Chariot moment, you might need some curiosity about what's ahead, what is up from, if you definitely want to do something that shakes the world up, shakes your life up, shakes your path up, then you're going to take the path less travelled, the one that you don't know about. You're maybe going to turn into a Knight of Wands maybe at this point in time. You're going to, you're going to follow your passion, you're going to follow your heart, and you're just going to run down that path and see what happens, and you're going to take the learning and the lessons that comes with it through your curiosity, and that's how you're going to get to where you want to be. you might have the motivation in order to do this as well, or you might need the motivation, or perhaps your motivation is the carrot at the end of the stick that you're dangling in order to know where you're going with your chariot moments, with your cards. I always like to think of smaller chariot moments in our lives, which is a new day. So each day, each dawn is anew, and you can decide what you want to do with them. This one has an affirmation on the back, which I allow things to resolve. But maybe that is your chariot moment for today. Perhaps is resolving the issue that's left over from the day before, or maybe it's letting it go. Maybe you just want to release it and get rid of it. The Chariot for me, with the lessons of life as well, also brings kind of cycles. So I thought this moon dance card was quite apt, because cycles could be the moon, could be the sun, it could be the turnings of the seasons, however you feel that that's working for you and what is you're achieving. Is your chariot being set for cycles of the year, or is it being set for an actual plan to unfold in front of you? So we do sometimes set our barriers and limits in different ways. And we often find ourselves in that chariot moment from the place of being stranded. We're usually going that way because we felt stuck and stayed for a bit. And, you know, we want to get the old ship moving again and going to our happy destination. So I don't know if I've talked about this one. So with the chariot comes that freedom as well, quite often. And that can be depicted in many different tarot cards, including the Everyday Witch, which is another fantastic chariot card. I haven't pulled it because I know I've seen it on so many videos, because it's such a beautiful card of direction and fun and kind of modern take really on what's going on. And it's the same with Poppy Palin's Everyday Enchantment. I have seen that one around a lot, so I didn't want to pull that card either for that reason. And sometimes your chariot can be homeward. Perhaps you're wanting to go back to where you came from. Not always is a chariot, to me, it doesn't always have to be forward motion per se. It could be that you are cycling back to repeat something because you got it wrong the first time round, and this time you're taking that knowledge and the in-depth skills and life experience that you've had to go back and get it right, because you knew it was right for you to start with, but you just missed something, so you're going back to fix it. And then we have the navigator, of course, with all chariots. Again, as I say, knowing the direction, the focus, the challenges, all your life path, all your life experience, and how you want to get there. Those are some of the cards that I think depict the chariot. So this is the Amanda Clark Earth Angels Oracle, and the backs of all of these cards have affirmations. So I act effectively and swiftly, sorry. And you have the card meaning on the back. So because they are quite plain on the back, it doesn't bother me when I'm shuffling, because I don't really see it when I'm shuffling. So for that reason, I like these cards as far as they go. And then I have two of my runes here. Again, these are about new beginnings and movement. So the waves constantly moving and being able to navigate through choppy waters, through the direction in which you want to go, and having an idea of what it is. Is it something new, or is it something old that you're bringing into your life, or recycling or returning? So the cyclical nature of the Fool's journey anyway, and new beginnings, along with the movement, whether it's gentle, choppy. But again, that would depend on how you learn to navigate what's ahead of you and what you've chosen to be ahead of you as well sometimes, or how flexible you are about that path when you get there and for the things that you weren't thinking of. So those are some of the ideas around chariot for me. And then cards. So we have the Trionfi della Luna, Aquadoxical. And this is the chariot card on this deck, which I really quite like. I like the colorways. So I'm just going to talk about the details in this rather than the card per se itself, although I might change my mind as I waffle on. So I like the fact we have shooting star, so that feels like we're going in the right direction. However, this chariot in general is going that way, which in a reading now today, where we read left to right, he's facing the wrong direction. If we were reading the old-fashioned style of Marseille, I do believe, or is it Minchiati, one of them, or Tarocchi, I can't remember, please put it in comments. One of them reads right to left, so in which case he would be facing the right direction for the original style of reading, but for today's style for most readers, he's not quite. So that's one thing on this card, is direction. The fact that he's pulling on the hair, so he has control of a situation, but is this control maybe a little bit too controlling? Okay, is this a healthy control, or is this somebody that's really upsetting the balance with what they're doing? and he does have a flag there flying. So for me, that's kind of a homeward bound journey in this particular card. But yeah, I do like, obviously, Patrick Lentz's art style in general. I haven't got the book out for this. This is just my, as I said, my own personal waffles. The Hush Tarot. So this is another gorgeous depiction of a chariot. It's very whimsical, childlike, so it has that sort of childish energy about it, along with some seriousness. So we do have like the blue flags flying. That brings to me the element of air and speech and your throat chakras. So speaking what it is that you want to know where you're going. There's a star there, so there is that symbol of guidance, directionality in this card. And she's on what do you call them, like fairground horses on the merry-go-round. She's on like a merry-go-round horse. So that's what I mean with the whimsy and the childish element here. But she is going in the other direction, and she does have her spear, so she's well armed and well equipped. It looks like she actually, although it's a very whimsical card, she does know a little bit about what's ahead, where she's going, and what she's likely to come up against as a challenge as well. So I do like that one. Now I have the Gentle Tarot in a Tin by Murray in the Sky, available from her Etsy shop. And this one, we have the bear with 2 fish in his mouth. So from a directional point of view, this one to me is a little bit more set. It's I don't feel this one's more about the actual direction in which you're going. I mean, we know where he's going home, so it's a homeward bound type of card to me, because once you've caught your food, you know, once you've got your food, hunter-gatherer stage, is what I'm trying to say, you'll head home and you'll you know, feed the family or nourish yourself, you know, light the fire, whatever it is you need to do, make the homely kind of transition, and then perhaps move into the old hermit stage where you might recline in the sofa and take some time for yourself. But yeah, so there are elements in this that I see. It's a little bit more gentle, but it has that strength to it with this card. So we have the bear. There is still the strength of movement, the strength of what you're doing, knowing what you're doing. So in order to catch 2 fish, you know, you've got to be pretty good in the water. And we have the rainbows there as well, which brings that sort of happier elements, but it brings the grounding, the following your gut in order to catch what you're doing, and then sort of heart, home path journey for me in this particular card. Now, this deck I really do quite like, and again, it's another take on a chariot. So here we go. So Tarot of Strange Antlers / Sprouts, because they're actually sprouts coming out of my head, not antlers, because they're live trees. Trees don't come from antlers, they come from sprouts. As somebody in a video mindfully informed us with some of our, because the translation of French into English doesn't always go the way it's supposed to. There can be mispronunciation, miscommunication, and again with like words, language, those sorts of barriers still occur, even though we use like various translators and things. So with this one, she's got, you know, perhaps that's her direction that's written on her. She's got her cloak, she knows where she's going, you know, she's lit up, she's aware of where she's off to. And this one, again, to me, it's more kind of heart-centered direction of a chariot. It's pink, it's the pink, obviously, that brings in that for me. And then we're very grounded in where we're going, but we aren't grounded and stuck. So we aren't in that stranded situation that I've talked about right at the start. We are going to go, we know where we're going, we're full balloon and off we go, you know, kind of full sail ahead if you want. So I like that one because it is different, but this deck I use for a very different purpose actually. I don't have many decks that I use differently for readings, but this is one of them. We have the Bonestone and Earthflesh by Avalon Cameron with the illustrations by Anna Turian. And this is a beautiful deck, and this one has a very beautiful kind of traveller. I think, let me just check, I don't want to get the wording wrong on this because I want to so the cards in here are kind of based on deity and archetypes and deity really. So there is a reason for this particular person, and she does have a name. She is called Charis, and she is the Gypsy Traveller. And let me just see, what does it say here? So Wanderlust is her direction in the world, basically. But with her Wanderlust, she takes what she learns. So this is that kind of embodiment, full embodiment of life lesson, life knowledge, life experience, direction. Wanderlust, wanting to know where you're going, free-spirited. It sort of brings in all of those elements for me that I do like for a chariot. And it can also indicate a situation over which you will need to gain control. So again, that's with that life experience, knowledge, knowing, having all of your tools in your toolbox and how you're going to deploy them and use them for what you need to get to. But obviously, we're not talking about doing this in a fighting stance. We're not talking about the 7 of Wands defensive. We're talking about actually using it to your advantage, but in a sensitive, compassionate way, and not being like a bull in a china shop with this card. So that is this one. I think I probably should talk about one normal chariot at least, shouldn't I? So I pulled out the vice versa. I'm sorry, it's as normal as you're going to get from me. And here we have the chariot. So it's very standard, although we are at night time in this card. But we do have, our 2, I don't even know what we call them, phoenixes, lions, not horses anyway, are they? And then he is in his chariot. He's got his very standard kind of armor. He doesn't have that like pulpit thing above his head. He does have a caduceus in his hand, but then we turn the card over and we can see from behind a very different story to the chariot. So we're kind of, it's almost like starborn, isn't it? So it's like he's the road as he's moving forwards is disappearing behind him, and there are chains here, so it's like he's breaking free of his chains. There's a rune there, and I'll be honest, I don't actually know what the rune stands for, and we are looking into that starlit sky, and there is a sunrise happening in front of him. So it is like he's going in the right direction. So directionality is very important, as I've said now quite a few times. So I like that one for the 2 aspects of the chariot. So I thought we'd talk about that one. And my final card for the chariot is the Garbage Pail Kids. So this is the childish card thrown into the mix here. And this is Velocity Victor, who is a new character to this deck, I think for the purposes of this deck, basically. But he stands for everything that we already know, to be honest. So he is ready to hop onto the chariot and drive it off as far as it can go. So he's got all of his wares with him. And see his like little spikes on his shoes. So, you don't want to cross him, because if he kicks you at the bottom, you're going to know all about it, aren't you? So he has his momentum and his determination, and he will drive his chariot as he needs. Does it say anything else in here? You'll cross the finish line only if you stay focused and don't lose confidence in your own ability to win. So that is just a little bit from the guidebook that comes with our Velocity Victor on the chariot. So there we go. I think that is my 7 chariots for you. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope there's something that you found useful at least. And yeah, please do join in with this one. Orshi would love to hear from us all. So I will put the link to her video down below in my information. And I will see you all in the next one. Until then, take care. Much love. Bye-bye.